Good afternoon from my side as well. So, supporting public authorities in driving the energy transition is a coordination and support action, opening on the 5th of March 2020 next year and closing in September 2020, 10th of September. We have 9 million euros of budget, and we expect contribution from proposal between 1 and 1.5 million euros. So we've heard that public authorities have a really big role to play for the energy transition, and with this topic, we want to that public authorities take up the challenge and step up as energy transition leaders. So they have to play an exemplary role. They need to set up and update their ambitious energy efficiency strategies. So the energy efficiency strategies and plans need to be even more ambitious than now if we want a carbon neutral Europe for 2050. And of course, they have a big role in implementing the European legislation like the Energy Efficiency Directive or the Energy Union Governance Regulation, as we heard. But what are our expectations for the proposals presented under this topic, and what are the, let's say, the most overlooked aspects in the opinion of our experts evaluators? First of all, we are looking for a permanent improvement of skills for public authorities, so we don't want and we don't expect one-off trainings, but institutionalization of the capacities and exchange of experience between cities and regions at the national level. Second, the approaches need to be innovative, but as we heard also in the previous session, innovative not in absolute terms, but depending very much on the context. So small can be also beautiful, but it's important that the proposals make a significant difference in their taking up the regional and local challenges and showing a clear added value compared to where they start from, and setting up concrete targets and achieving concrete results. Of course, this topic is about public authorities, so it needs to be demonstrated very clearly the political commitment of public authorities and the contribution of public authorities to the projects. There are different ways of doing that. For instance, having public authorities in the consortium is probably the more straightforward way, but it's not compulsory. Proposers can also think about letter of support on other ways to involve and engage public authorities and demonstrate their commitment to the action. Proposals need to show and demonstrate also that cities and regions will use the results of the project and will implement and monitor the energy efficiency solutions and actions. So it's really crucial that the concepts and the results achieved can be put into practice and continued after the project's end. So the issue of concreteness is really an issue for this kind of proposals, and expert evaluators usually highlight this point. And of course, proposals need to exploit synergies with similar initiatives like the Covenant of Mayors. I forgot to say in the beginning that given the broadness, the breadth of the issue of the reaching carbon neutrality and delivering the energy transition on the ground, the topic is quite open and it's divided into two scopes. So scope A is supporting local and regional authorities, while scope B, we will see it in a minute, is about supporting member states. So scope A is actually divided in 4 points. And the idea here is that we expect that proposals aim at one of the points. So to make it more clearly, there is no additional value of covering more than 1 point in the proposal, and it's it's more important that the proposals are concretely addressing one specific point. The first point is about better decision-making processes for regional and local authorities in order to increase the quality, the coherence, and the consistency of the energy efficiency measures. And of course, as we know that it's really important to accelerate reaching targets of energy efficiency. So among the other things, this point is about multi-level governance, coordination of different governance levels, local, regional, and national, and of course supporting the regulation of the energy union governance. Second point is about the development of policy scenarios and transition roadmaps for 2050 targets that are able to inform the implementation of CCAPs or similar energy and climate plans for 2030 and beyond. In this point, of course, the actions should link closely to the Covenant of Mayors and again the Energy Union Governance Regulation. The third point is about creating or finding innovative ways to enable public engagement in the energy transition, so giving support to public authorities to engage all the sectors of the civil society. And the fourth point is about delivering capacity building programs for cities and regions to, of course, help them take up the role of energy transition leaders. And here it's very important to foster the permanent improvement in the skill base of the public officers and support the diffusion and the replication of the approaches. And also to provide for a solid impact monitoring of the actions proposed. So there are already a number of excellent experiences across Europe and ongoing projects that are already working on these issues, funded under previous calls, and in this slide you see only some examples. But for instance, we have projects like CAMEASY that are working on the harmonization of different reporting systems for energy and climate planning, or a project like C-Track50, which is addressing the regional level and in particular supporting regions in planning the carbon neutrality for 2050, or projects that are targeting the capacity building for cities and regions, like Empowering, so capacity building for developing CCAPs, Prospect, which is a learning program for cities to implement and finance CCAPs. So here the focus is not on the development but on the implementation and the financing on the action, which includes exchanges and study visits. And also we have Empower, which is a peer-to-peer learning program for municipalities, which addresses best practices for municipal energy and transition plans. So here the key message is really to have a look at those projects and also at other projects funded under H2020 and Intelligent Energy Europe and build upon it. Second scope, Scope B, as we said, it's about supporting the national level, so supporting member states in implementing the Energy Efficiency Directive. And the idea here is that the Energy Efficiency Directive has already triggered numerous and positive developments in member states when we think about setting ambitious targets or investing in energy efficiency programs across different sectors. But there is still a lot of work to do, and member states still need to fully implement the directive, and this is why additional support and capacity building is needed. Here I put in the slide some possible areas of work. They are not non-exhaustive, so you can think about other areas of work. But for instance, you can think about working on the harmonization of energy saving calculation under Article 3 of the Energy Efficiency Directive, or the focusing on the Article 7, so the implementation of energy efficiency obligation schemes and the monitoring and verification systems, or again, taking into account the challenges of Article 14 on efficiency of generation, or Article 15 on transmission and distribution systems. And of course, as we said, that also the energy, the integrated national energy and climate plans will play a big role supporting developing and reporting on those plans. Also in this case, we have existing and ongoing projects. I put in the slides EPAT, for instance, which provides member states with knowledge and tools for better evaluation of energy efficiency policies, and a project which has just started and which is called ENSMOV, which will work on the implementation and monitoring verification practices of energy savings policies. So again, there are more projects than that. You can have a look at the Energy Efficiency Data Hub or the Intelligent Energy Europe database, and again, you're encouraged to take into account these practices and experience from across Europe to build a new proposal. Before concluding, let's have a look at the impacts expected from this topic. And apart from the primary energy savings, the renewable energy production, and the investments triggered, the focus of this topic is really to offer support to public authorities in driving the energy transition. So there are other very important indicators that we expect that you will cover, such as the number of institutionalized collaboration on the energy transition between public authorities, the number of stakeholders active in delivering the energy transition, the number of public authorities and public officers with improved capacity and skills, the number of policies, it's crucial, influenced through the action, and of course the number of member states with improved implementation of the EED or the Energy Union Governance Regulation. It's very important to remind that the impacts in your proposal depend on the scope addressed. So depending if your proposal addresses scope A or B, you can target and demonstrate different impacts. And it's not compulsory to demonstrate all impacts. And impacts should be quantified wherever possible. So with these final remarks, I thank you for your attention, and I wish you good luck in your work. Thank you.